Hey, this is Noah Crosby at Randolin Music, and I wanted to show you something that really was my first passion and first love, and a lot of people forget that because I do less work on them than I used to, and I concentrate so much on mandolins, ukuleles, octomandolins, and so much guitar stuff because that's what people bring me. But my first love and what I started out repairing and even building first was violins. My first design instruments were acoustic and electric 5-string violins. Um, Quickly, I'll show you that. This is one that's been in process way too long. I'd be embarrassed to tell you how long. But this is actually a different shape even. It's really a viol shape. And you can see the arching is very high. This is kind of based more on a Stainer copy than on a Stradivari or Guarneri copy. These are not finished on the inside. I'm going to show you more. What happens is you start out with a piece of wood like this, mark it out, as you can see, and then you have to carve it down. This particular one was a premium grade from Metropolitan Music in Stover, which I buy stuff from them occasionally for like violin tops anyway. This particular piece here, this is a one-piece top, as is this a one-piece back. This wood is, this backwood is from New Hampshire. It's very flamed, as you can see. And this top was actually from some cello tops that I bought back in the 80s. Very tight grain, as hopefully you can see. This was from a cello top, and I made a few instruments out of this, including my personal one that maybe I'll show you at a different time. This wood is at least 30, probably 60 plus years old. As you can see, the color is very settled and aged. Obviously, you can see the difference there. This wood here on the unstarted one is, I don't know, probably 10 to 15 years old. This is easily 60. This is actually going to be, as you can see, they're the same shape. This I'm actually going to replace the top on my personal violin because it's had some problems over time, and the arching, as you can see, this arching here, it was too high. It was the first one I built of this design. I love the sound. I love playing it, but I'll show you at a different time. And then the neck on this is going to be a raven's neck. See that? And this is more tiger stripe maple. So the other thing, what I like to keep my hand in practices is recalibrating tops and putting in bass bars in instruments, and I'm going to start backwards. So this is a old Hoff. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see the stamp on the back. This is from the late 1800s, German. In fact, this is this is actually a fixed neck, similar to what you would see in some Spanish guitars, where the neck and the block is all one piece, and then the sides are fit in a slot. I'm sure you can see that, how well you can see that. This one, I'm probably going to have to take, I just realized today I'm going to have to take the fingerboard off because I've decided to, this one's really thick, the back. I've already recalibrated the top. This top had a carved in bass bar, which I have already removed, and I have recalibrated the top to use this caliper here, which I like this one. I don't know where I got it. probably online from one of Luthier Supply Place or some. But this one is nice because you can change it from millimeters and then inches, both in and then in fractions. The old, I'll show you in a minute. The old chart that I use is all in well, it's actually both in fractions and it's in millimeters. But what you do with this guy is you take it here, and then it tells you the thickness. I know. And the inside of the top and back of a violin are like a topographical map. Like this. That's the back. Even very topographical, and then that's the top, which is less, and it's not as thick. As you can see, this is in millimeters, and then the very thickness of the back is 11, and then it spreads out and gets thinner and thinner towards the edges. Same with the top, except the top starts here in 8 millimeters going out to 5 or 6, sorry. But in millimeters, or in fractions, it would be, the 8 would be about 8/64 down to 6/64. That's, oh no, this is actually sorry, this is not in millimeters. This is in fractions of 64. So this back here, this hop, is actually at 13/64, so it's a little thick. So I'm going to thin it the back out. I'm going to have to take the fingerboard off because, like I said, it's got a lift on it to get the angle right. And then this guy, the top it's already regraduated, cleaned it up nicely. It was very roughly done. Clean that up, and then I'll put a new bass bar in it. Now, what I like to use is old piano soundboards or piano soundboard ribs, which this is actually pretty rough, but you get a lot of good stuff out of it. This is probably 150-year-old wood, 100 plus, between 100 and 150-year-old wood. I don't have, I should have looked first. I don't have any actual ribs handy. Probably do, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. So anyway, so that's what it kind of starts out as, a piece of wood, and then what it's going to end up being like is like this. This one has been repaired. It's got some cracks. Already got the cleats on it. This is a early 1900s, between 1900 and 1920-ish, medio fino, made in France. And again, too, you can see there, made in France, medio fino. I took the label off so I could regraduate. The edges are pretty thick on this one. This top, I already regraduated the top on this. The bass bar was fine, but I did get the middle was a little heavy, and the outer edges were before I cleated it. So this one is pretty much ready to go. And then when you get right down, I had to do a little work on this. Is an Eastman 405, which is a fairly decent instrument. I had to do a little bit of work on this. It had a little wolf in it, and check the gauges in this. The topographical inside needs a little bit of adjusting, but it's pretty close. But this is also this topographical map here is for a Strad. This is a Guarneri copy, so there is some variance in that too. And for those of you who have never seen the inside of a violin, so there's the bass bar here. And this is where the sound post would go. I can see there's already a mark there. I don't know if you can see it or not. And then here's the sound post, which will go like this between the top and the back on that side. And so that's kind of the long and the short of that. I'll do another video as I get some of this stuff done. The medio fino, the neck is off also, to check the neck angle and maybe clean this up a little bit before I put it back together. But thought you might like to see a little bit of different stuff. A lot of people probably think I just do guitars and fretted instruments, but like as I said, my first love, instrument-wise, was violin family, especially violin. That's my first instrument. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, give us a call or email us at randolin.com.